Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I want to give you guys another update on what we're doing, what we've got done. So this is all up on jack stands. You see I got some of the fuel stuff going on. I had a friend of mine come over last night and give me a hand. Shout out to Sean, appreciate you, bro. So this is all 10 a.m. to the fittings. I only got one screw holding this here fuel filter in, so you see it's moving right now. I got to put another screw at the bottom. So this is all what I'm planning on doing today. This line here is about 12 inches. This is about 12 inches too long, so I got to cut that today. And this one is going to get routed to a dash 10 90 degree, and it's going to run into my fuel pressure regulator down here at the bottom. So I got to cut this and then put this down here. See, the rest of the fuel stuff is looking good. This line here is just a little bit too long. I'm still not sure if I'm going to cut it and redo it. We'll see. It's just like it's borderline at that level. So let me take you guys around to the back. So you see here, old fuel lines are out, new ones in. This one is a little too long. Probably gonna end up cutting it, to be honest, because it is too long and it's not as neat as I want it to be. Might as well get it done now, right? This 90 degree fitting, I want it facing this way. So this is about 15 inches too long here. Got my fuel pump here. I gotta extend these wires out. I'm gonna redo this wiring here. This is the power and ground for the fuel pump. So just using one bracket and then just zip tie the two lines together. Nothing's kinked. Trying to leave as much slack as possible on the bends because you don't want kinked lines. It'll defeat the whole purpose of doing this. If you're gonna have fuel issues, you want flow. So the lines just run all the way up to the front. Can't wait to try out this shifter. That shifter's legit. Yeah, so got all the lines in. So we're just gonna continue with the rest of the work. Just want to mention real quick, guys, if you guys are new to the channel and this is your first time seeing this car and this channel here, go ahead and subscribe, because there's a lot of stuff that we're doing here, a lot of race car stuff, DIY stuff, things that I think can be beneficial to you guys, give you guys ideas on things. But yeah, so hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for the notifications. That way every time I drop a video, you get the notification. Trying to put out videos every, like, at least every 3 days for right now, because we got tons of work to do. So just a little quick information on this particular car here. This is a 1990 Honda Civic ED6 that I had bought about 7-8 years ago. The car was fully stock, full interior, nothing done to this car. Just had the D15 B7 in it, 4-speed transmission, slow as dirt. It's like 97 horsepower, I think. And over the years, you know, it was a street car, and now it's like race car. So it's all been DIY stuff. It's all been done here. It's, you know, I'm not sponsored or anything, obviously. So just making this thing work. Just trying to build a fast car, guys. Back to what we're doing today. So I ordered a roll cage, 6-point. That'll be in. UPS called me to schedule a delivery drop off, so that should be in tomorrow, hopefully everything goes good. But the fuel cell here, guys, I gotta wait till I put the roll cage in, but I have to build a metal box over this thing, because the NHRA rules are that the fuel cell cannot be in the cabin with the driver, and technically right now this is in the cabin. So if you think about it, if God forbid any accident happened, you don't want this in with you anyways, because this is gasoline, you know, race fuel, whatever you're running. So we got to build a box, Because the last thing I want is to go to the track and get kicked out because I don't have the proper safety equipment in order. So after the roll cage comes in, I'm gonna build the roll cage, weld it all in, and then build a box. And the reason I'm waiting until after the roll cage is because I don't want anything getting in the way once we're trying to put the roll cage in. Once the cage is in, I can cut and form around that, and then we'll be good. So that's the plan. So if any of you guys are running a fuel cell like this, build a metal box over it, something with a hinge, so you can get, you know, to the cap, and then that way you'll be good and you won't have any issues with the track. So it's just one of those things, guys. When I started putting all this stuff together, I wasn't really thinking about that because I was doing so much street racing back then, and now I can't drive this car on the street. So and our Mexico spot kind of got shut down at the moment, and I don't know what's going on with that. But so as it stands now, I have to do all my runs at the track, and I don't want to trailer my car an hour and a half to Orlando Speed World just for them to tell me that, you know, for the tech to tell me, nope, can't run it, it's not safe, blah blah. So I mean, I already got to replace the windshield because the windshield's got a crack, and that's one of those things that they won't let you run when they see stuff like this, guys. Doesn't matter what kind of car you got. So I got to replace this. So it's a big deal renting a U-Haul trailer and, you know, going an hour and a half out of your way. So I want to get it right. I'm taking this one off, and we're gonna cut the line wheel and put this back on. And this is usually the difficult part, getting this here connector on there. So I'm gonna show you guys how I do it. It's pretty easy. It's not that bad. So I'm just gonna try to work this hose back this way so I have more room to work. All right, so what I do is I take electrical tape like this, and I'm gonna lap it twice, okay? So, and I'm gonna pull this tape and I'm gonna stretch this tape out because I want it thin, and I'll explain why I want it thin in a minute. So 2 wraps, and then I'm gonna break it or cut it. Now I'm gonna take my electrical tape and I'm gonna put more tape on it on that same spot, but I'm gonna put a lot this time, and I'm not gonna stretch it. I'm just gonna apply it normal. So what we're doing is we're building up a barrier so we can cut through this line without fraying up this nylon, because this stuff is wild, man. Once you cut it, it just like spreads out, and it's a real pain. So this tape will keep that nylon intact. So you see, I'm putting a whole bunch on here. Let's break that right there. That's good. Let me zoom in so you guys can see how thick that is. You guys see that right there? How much I put on there? Now, I need to cut this somewhere. See, this would have been good to do outside the car, but it's in the car now, so we kind of just have to deal with it. And you guys can use a grinder for this if you want. It would be easier with a grinder, or probably even a Dremel. This hacksaw works just as good. See how it's backing off? You can see where it's the old threads where it bit in. Keep going, keep going. That's electrical tape there, and it's off. All right, so you remember all that excess tape we put on earlier? But we're gonna peel that last layer off. Remember, we put 2 layers on. We put one thick layer and one thin layer. The thin layer is at the bottom. We want to keep the thin layer on this line. Just peel this off. Now we're left with that first layer we put on, that really thin layer that we stretched. You can see the electrical tape's a different color. It's like that gray color because we stretched it out. And I'm gonna keep that like that. Now you can take some WD-40. I was using motor oil to do these when I was doing them at home. Motor oil works pretty good. We're gonna spray a little bit in here. The motor oil, I was dipping my finger and then I just run it along through here just to lube that up a bit. So I'm gonna redo that now. And I need a screwdriver. So I'm gonna put the end on like that, force it down, and I'm gonna take my index finger and the screwdriver, and we're gonna try to just wedge the rest of it in. Just work it around like that. That's on good enough. You see that right there, how that's on? Now I'm gonna take my other hand, I'm gonna try to just put pressure, just try to force it down. And now we can begin the process of threading it on. Now remember, it's reverse threaded, so to thread it on, we're gonna go counterclockwise. And you'll see it'll start to grip. Oh, counterclockwise, there we go. So it's already grabbing on now, I can already feel it. So I'm just gonna keep twisting this until it's all the way on. All right, now that's on. I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can see. That's actually, this is the hose here where the screwdriver's pointed on, and now that's properly on there. See, there we go, nice and neat. All right, so now that you got your end cap on there, right there, I'm gonna go ahead and take the rest of the Russell fitting. And I'm going to lubricate this piece here, because this is what's going to slide down into this hole. And it's going to be a tight fit, guys, so make sure it's lubed up. Like this, just push it down, give it a little wiggle, feel it grip that hose, and then just go ahead and start turning by hand at first. Turn it by hand until everything gets tight, and then you're going to switch over to your wrenches. It's easier if you can put it in a vise, or if you got a vise at your shop, put some masking tape around this so you don't mar this thing up. Stick it in the vise nice and tight, and then you can go ahead and turn this right here with the AN tool. If you don't have the AN tool, you can use an adjustable wrench. If you don't have that, I believe that this here 10 AN nut size right here, I believe that's 24 millimeter. So if you got like a 24 millimeter wrench, you could stick that on there. Oh, that's good. Hand tools, baby. So it got a little scuffed up. Not a big deal, not too bad. This one's gonna be hidden anyways. So I did mar it up a little bit right there, but not a big deal, guys. I'm not worried about it. If I was, I would have bought the tool. So that's on there good now. All right, guys, here's the update. We're underneath the car now. And sorry, Sean, if you're watching this. I had to cut all your zip ties, because there was all that slack up there in the engine bay with the lines, remember? And I was able to even it out, so I had to cut all the zip ties in order to bring the fuel lines back a bit. So now it's all even, everything fits a lot better. But I had to re-zip tie everything from the engine bay all the way back. And I was able to get these lines here more away from the shifter here. I don't know if you guys can see that. You know, this thing moves back and forth and stuff. And before, it was like the lines were real close to it, and that right there would have just wore a hole into it. So I was able to get these lines pushed out of the way. We're looking straight up at it right now. This thing's never gonna get close to that. So yeah, I used a ton of zip ties. And It's all back here. You can see there's no kinks in anything. I'm running it wide like that because I don't want to kink the lines. Have an issue. But this is all solid and on there. It's never gonna go anywhere. So you see, it's able to bring all that line back and it doesn't look bad. We got the fuel pressure line there, fuel pressure regulator line. That's good. I just need to bring it over. See it moving down there? Just need to bring it over this way and probably zip tie it to something. And then the fuel filter line here. See, there's no slack. I don't know if you guys can see that. Where is it? Yeah, this is the line right here. It goes straight back to underneath the car. Before it was like a whole lot going like this and stuff, and I don't want any unnecessary heat on these lines. And I definitely didn't want to have to cut another line and put another fitting on it because that's kind of getting old. I already had to cut. I had to cut 3 times today and do the fittings. So let me show you guys the back. So this one I had to cut twice. First time I cut it, it was like 3 inches too long. Then I took it off again, had to cut it again. And in the process of trying to get this Evil Energy fitting on, this cheaper one, I ended up stripping the threads on it. On this side, you guys can see where it's silver. Well, it's stripped there. And this is a Russell fitting here. This thing is strong. This thing didn't strip out, but this did. So I gotta order another one of these 10A and 90-degree elbows and then just swap that out. But not too bad. We got the fuel filter mounted up. That's secure in there. I'm probably gonna order another one of these mounts and run 2 of them back to back just to make it extra solid. Or that, I don't know, might be overkill, but I don't know, kind of thinking about it. Lines all on, nice and tight, running to the fuel rail. I still have the injectors in there, the old injectors. Everything's hooked up in the back. Just have to get that one fitting. So, yeah, I think that's it. Got the car down off the jack stands. So, gonna wrap this one up, guys. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe. We just hit 2,000 subscribers, so we're growing quick. Y'all take it easy.